Sing me a song of a lass that is gone. Say, could that lass be I? Mary of soul, she sailed on a day over the sea to sky.
Hey everyone, Owlvine here. So today is my YouTube anniversary. The crowd goes wild. It's very exciting. I'm surprised that it's been a year. It seems to have gone quite quickly in some ways, and it's been a long time in others. I've learnt so much, and I'm so grateful that I began this channel and made connections with so many of you out there. It's been a really incredible journey. So as you know, I decided to do a Q&A just to mark today. I asked in a previous video for you guys to ask me questions, and I was really blown away by the response. There are so many questions. I just felt a little bit overwhelmed with the sheer magnitude of questions, but I am going to answer them all except for two, just for a personal reason. I didn't want to answer two of the questions, but every single person has at least one of their questions answered. Everyone will be showcased, so we have a lot of questions to get through, and really cool questions as well, some very thought-provoking questions and some fun ones too. So we will get into it without further ado. I feel like I say that a lot. Lately I've been saying that a lot. The first question is, where in the world and what kind of life would you have liked to be born into? I would have liked to have been born into some kind of matriarchal society that was very spiritual, and I think I would have liked to have been a priestess. I think that would be a pretty cool life. But yeah, I would love to experience a matriarchal society. That would have been pretty fucking cool. Do you spellcast often? I do. I spellcast every day, I think. Pretty well every day. I do at least something small, if not more than that. But in terms of elaborate spell casting with ritual and all that sort of stuff to it as well, I don't do that particularly often, but I'm always doing little magics throughout the day. What areas of the craft are you currently practicing? I'm not sure what this question means. I think, what kind of magic? Perhaps. I do a lot of energy work. So most of the time, that's the kind of magic that I practice. So I often don't use tools. I use my own energy and visualization, powers, and that's how I do magic. If I am using tools though, usually I use fire, so generally candles. If I can, I love having a fire outside, like a proper big fire. Yeah, so I love doing work with fire as well. And what's something you're interested in learning? I would really love to learn more astrology. I'm currently studying astrology. I've just kind of begun, and it's just a subject that I adore. So I would definitely like to learn more about astrology, and I would love to bring in the energies of star alignment and things going on up there further into my magical practice as well. What is your favorite time to ritual? Definitely nighttime. I am a night owl. I always have been. When night falls, I feel the magic, I feel that power. It is definitely my power time, so definitely nighttime. And do they leave you feeling euphoric? It depends. It really depends on the ritual. I think a lot of the time they do. Even if my energy feels in one way a little bit low afterwards, I feel kind of on a happy ritual high afterwards. So it depends on the ritual, depends on how long it goes for and the day and all that kind of thing. But yeah, I would say that often they do, yeah. And I would like to take a moment here to say a cheeky happy birthday to Natasha Adams. Big shout out to you, my love. I hope you're having a fantastic birthday and that this year is the most brilliant yet for you. What do you do most that is witchy or spiritual? Probably grounding. That was one of the first practices I learnt when I came into this way of practicing spirituality. And it's something that I do every single day. And if I don't do it, I really start to feel scattered and incredibly just all over the place. I have a lot of fire energy in my chart. Like, overwhelmingly, I am a fire sign. And earth is actually my lowest energetic element in my chart. So grounding for me is very, very important. I actually married a Taurus. He has a lot of earth energy, thank goodness. Luckily, I've figured out kind of how to keep myself grounded, and at the moment, I'm needing extra grounding. Like, there's been a lot of, I don't know if anyone else is feeling it, but there is like some serious woo-woo energetic fluctuations and things going on right now, and they've really been affecting me like the last month or so. So I've got garnet and some red jasper in here, and I've just been wearing this like all the time, the last 3 days, like constantly I wear it. So I just picked up that I need to, after talking to a friend, I need to be wearing some grounding crystals. So since wearing these, I'm feeling better. So grounding. If you were a medicinal plant, which would you be? Definitely cannabis. Without a doubt, I would be cannabis. And what baneful plant would you choose to be? Nightshade, I think. I don't know what it is. I get like a feeling, or like there's a sense, something about nightshade. There's almost like this whole kind of story that pops up around it for me. I don't know, I feel quite drawn to nightshade, so I need to look into nightshade. Maybe there's something about it there. But yeah, I think that would be the one that I would choose to be. Could you explain a little more about your connection with your property? Yes. From the moment my husband and I first pulled up to have a look at this house and this land, I felt the strongest pull. Like, I just knew this was home for me. Had these gorgeous, huge green trees out the front, and all this foliage everywhere, leaves and grass, and where I'd been living was a bit of a concrete jungle. Hang on, I'm just going to shut this window because, as always seems to happen lately, there is a neighbour using a power tool while I'm trying to film. That was very graceful. Okay, so I just felt so drawn to this property, and I could feel some kind of power here. And we walked through the house and then came into the yard. And before we came here, I felt drawn to leave an offering, and I'd never really done anything like that before, but I felt drawn to bring something with me to leave for this property, and ask it for its favour, for us to, you know, be able to move here. So we walked out into the backyard, and just, again, the trees and everything about this place is just so beautiful. Oh, that's what I was saying before. We were living in a concrete jungle before that, so we had like a little square patch of grass, and that was about it. And I've always been for forest and trees and that kind of landscape. So this is still very much in suburbia where we live now, but it feels like a little patch of wilderness, except when the neighbours are using power tools. So we walked out here, and there was an apple tree at the back, and I just felt drawn to leave my offering there for it. And I put my hands on the land and I spoke to it, and I felt some kind of instant connection. And I left the offering there and, you know, went home. And over the next month, I did lots of magics to continue to draw this place to us and us to this place. And during that time, just intuitively, I always addressed this land. Again, I'd never really done anything like that before, but I knew to speak to the land directly, you know, to treat it with respect, and not treat it as something that I owned or something I could just move in on top of, but something that I was to become a part of. And ever since moving here, never before have I felt so safe and so protected as I do here. So when I ground, there's a large tree right outside this window, a Norfolk Island pine, which I've sat in front of in other videos before, so you might remember it. But it's right here, and it's in the center of the property, and every time I ground, I connect to that tree, and this tree to me is the conduit, you know, the energy center of this place. And I don't know, I just feel so much love for this little space of land. I love all the animals that live here, and all of the trees and the plants and everything. Yeah, so big love for this place, and I feel it right back as well. What area of your witchy practice are you afraid to do or hesitant about? Good question. Probably getting more deep into spirit work, so maybe conjuring, calling up various spirits, really working with spirits. I have done some work like that before, but I've always felt really called to it, and I definitely haven't thrown myself into that area. I just feel a little bit, I guess, not fully confident in my ability yet to get rid of anything. You know, if I call up something that perhaps, you know, isn't as friendly as it could be. Yeah, I don't feel quite confident in my ability to get rid of it yet. So I just figure, not going there yet, but it's something that I really want to do. Just get more into spirit work and communing with spirits, talking to spirits, calling them up and things like that. Do you watch altar tours without the sound? No, I don't actually. I really like to hear what people have to say about their altars and their different tools and things like that. That's my thing that I love about altar tours. I always enjoy hearing the little stories behind things and, you know, what they mean being put together. So usually, in fact, probably every time, I listen to them with the sound. But I can definitely understand why you would like to watch them without the sound and just have the imagery there. What kind of high school did you attend? I went to a co-ed Christian school, a private Christian school. So that was fun. I met a lot of cool people there, actually. There was really cool people, and a few of them are still in my life. I married one of them. So there were really awesome people that went there. It wasn't very strict compared to a lot of other schools. Like, it was, you know, I mean, at least when I was there, it's gotten a lot more strict since I left. But yeah, it was pretty fun. We had a lot of fun. So that's where I went to school. The weirdest things you do. Okay. It was really hard for me to think of things that I could actually share. Because look, there are things that I'm not going to share, okay? The weirdest things I do. I mean, the hard thing is, like, you guys, most if not all of you are magical practitioners. So, I mean, most of the weird is pretty normal here, right? To some people, collecting animal parts are pretty weird. Like, if I see anything as I walk around, I collect it. I have found animals before that I have separated into parts and things like that, so that's pretty weird to some people. I couldn't really think of anything fun, which is, like, terrible, isn't it? Because I'm sure, and I've been trying to think the last few days, I'm like, come on, like, I know I do weird stuff all the time. Like, as a kid, you know, I used to practice kissing with my pillow and the walls. That's pretty weird. I had a pillow that was a comforter up until the age of 12, when my stepdad forced me to, well, he took it off me, so, and that was like the end of that. So I had a comforter till the age of 12. That's kind of weird too, I guess. Okay, here's something that's weird and kind of embarrassing to share, and I hope that no one who knows me outside of, I don't know, is watching, because they're probably going to be freaking out. But usually I don't wear underwear. I am a freeballer. Most of the time I wear pants or skirts, so I don't wear underwear. It's not really that weird when you think about it. Like, but yeah, it's a cultural thing that you wear some small piece of undergarment under your clothes. So, but if I'm wearing a shorter skirt, or, you know, something, shorts, whatever, then yeah, I do. But yeah, that's probably the weirdest thing I do. I don't know that I can think of right now. That's so boring. Boring answers. If you were a tree, what would you be and why? I love this question. I love this question. So I went unconscious for the answer to this question, and straight away what popped into my head was the willow tree. Because willows move and they dance and they're gorgeous and I love them. So I would choose to be a willow because I want to move constantly, and they also tend to grow in areas that are quite lush and, you know, have water available. I hate the dry. I'm not a fan of the heat, so I would say I would love to be a willow. Do you practice scrying? Yes, I do. I haven't for a while, actually. It's been a little while since I've done scrying, but I really enjoy scrying, especially with flame. I love to scry with flame, so yes. When you find animal or insect bits, how do you clean them, or do you? So there are many different ways to do this. If you are interested in doing this yourself, just Google it. That's where I learned how to do it. There's like loads of different ways you can. So the ways I've done it, one of my favourite ways is just to bury them. So I've got a few things buried out in the yard at the moment, and the earth and bugs kind of do their thing over time. It does take a while though. If they're buried, it's best to leave them out above the ground. I haven't done that because there are all kinds of animals around here that will just take it away. So it happens faster if you're able to like cage it and leave it above ground somewhere where it's not going to bother anyone with the stink, but you can bury them. Also, if you have parts like this, so this is a crow's wing. If you have a crow's wing or crow's feet, I have a foot that's behind there, or anything like that, if you put them into corn flour, so into a box with holes in it and into corn flour for about 4 to 6 weeks, it will absorb all the stuff that it needs to, and that will be good to go, and they're fine like that. It will also, sort of, and you just make sure it's all covered in corn flour. Now, if there is any smelliness when you open it up again, if it smells kind of meaty or whatever, they're no good. They've already turned, so they'll probably continue to smell. I mean, I've had pieces like that before that then were fine. So just see how you go. But if there is a strong smell to it, it's probably too late. So if I get something that is already starting to stink, I usually just like it for the bones. So then I'll bury it. Or I've got a lizard slowly decomposing in a jar at the moment. I guess that's something weird I do. There you go. I put decomposing animals in jars. Do you watch horror films? If so, what's your favourite? I actually don't. I'm a complete sissy. I really am. I don't like horror films. I had some really horrible experiences when I was younger, in terms of watching horror films. I felt like I watched them too young. My mum sheltered me a lot, so I was just like an incredibly like open-hearted, emotional being, and horror movies I couldn't do. However, saying that, I have seen some horror movies. Didn't like them very much. But in terms of like soft horror, like I like soft horror. I loved Crimson's Peak. I watched that recently. I freaking love that movie. And I really liked 30 Days of Night, which again, like, most people like horror. Soft horror. Softcore horror. And that was like a vampire one with Josh Hartnett. Ooh, no wonder I love it. Yeah, I liked those, but yeah, I don't actually watch horror films, so I'm kind of lame, guys. Sorry. Do you use oracle or tarot cards, and if so, which do you prefer? I use both. I have the Druidcraft Tarot, which I really love. I feel really connected to it. And I have a lot of... how many oracle decks do I have? I've got 4 oracle decks, I think. So at the moment, I'm mostly using the Alchemist Tarot. The Alchemist Tarot? The Alchemist Oracle. Oh my god. And this was a gift from my dear friend, Noah Tempestari. So I'm really loving this. And my favourite to use out of Tarot or Oracle is, at the moment, Oracle decks. Because I don't know Tarot very well, I find that with the Oracle decks, I can use my intuition much more freely than with tarot. With tarot, there's a certain system already in place. Like, obviously, intuition definitely comes into play as well. But I feel like, just for where I'm at, the oracle decks are really nice to use because I don't need to use the guidebooks if I don't want to. Yeah, so probably that. But it really depends. It really depends on the week and the phase happening. Because, if you ask me, next week, it may be tarot. It may be that I'm using the most and preferring. So it depends. Where would you like your practice to expand this year? I'm wanting to do more elaborate ritual more often. This past year, I really haven't done much at all, which has been really perfect where I've been at. But I'm wanting to kind of I guess, make my practice a little bit more structured. It's not structured very much at all right now, which again has been working really well. Because things have been like so up and down and crazy for me, and my practice has kind of just been going along with that too. But yeah, I would like a little bit more structure, a little bit more ritualistic things that I engage in. So that's where I would like to kind of expand this year, to set myself some more, some sort of guidelines and see if they work, and kind of play a little bit with that whole structure part of my practice. What are your favourite subjects of study? Definitely astrology at the moment, as I did mention earlier. I love astrology. I'm loving learning about it. I can't get enough of it. So astrology is definitely my favourite, at the moment. I also really enjoy learning about different herbs. I would like to... This year, actually, that's something else. I'd like to learn more about some of the local herbs and plants that I have around me that I can wildcraft as well. I learnt quite a bit this year, but I would like to sort of expand on that study. I really enjoy studying. It seems to be mostly in winter. That seems to be like a real study time, which I think, makes a lot of sense. It's being inside and cozy time. So that's usually when I tend to do my most amount of studying. What jobs have you done? I have worked in a fast food restaurant, we use the term loosely. I hated that. I have worked as an assistant swimming instructor. The funny thing about that is I actually don't really know how to swim. I could do it over a short distance to save my life, but I know how to teach swimming. Send all your children to me, I'll teach them to swim. I really enjoyed that job. I have worked in a nursery, with plants. I loved that job. I've worked in retail mostly, so I've worked in a photo store. We printed off people's photos, or a photo lab. I've worked at a hippie store, and I have also worked in sales briefly, and it was awful. I thought I hated the fast food restaurant job. Sales, oh my god, no. And for those in Australia who know about this company, I worked to try and get people to sign up for Telstra. Telstra is just this company that everyone hates. I got sworn at that much, and it was the worst job I ever had. I'm an empath, man. I can't sell Telstra. Anyway, so those are the different jobs that I've had. And your nicknames. Alright, so you guys don't know this, although you will if you're watching the Google Hangout that I did with Noah Tempestari and Keldon the other day. But my real name is Shireen. So, my nicknames have been Shireeny, Peeny, Neeny, Peanut, Sheep, Sheepers Creepers, Shaz, what else have I been called? Shez, Hairy Man Lover. That's all I can think of right now. Don't know what else I've been called. I've had many names. The thing is, Shireen, for some reason, is a really difficult name for people to say or remember or write or whatever. So I've had every kind of every version of a name that you can imagine. So I've had all kinds of names and nicknames, and can I just call you this? And yeah, so many nicknames. And the last question we'll do today, what is your view of deity? I view deity as part of the web that makes up the cosmos. I think that deities are mental projections. I think that they're energy forms of their own that have been given power through our thought forms. I think they are reflections of different energies. I think that they are the faces that we put onto everything that is God. God being the all, everything manifest, everything beyond manifest, everything that there possibly is. I think that they're all a part of that. I think that they are how we experience the universe through our own human understanding. We have very, very limited understanding. we are learning so many things all the time. Like science discovers something new and all of a sudden we're like, oh my goodness, we can't believe this new truth that we've just learned. Like there is so much out there we don't know. So we can obviously only experience that through our own tiny little human consciousnesses. And I think that deities are faces of the cosmos, ways that we can personally connect to whatever it is that God is, whatever it is that the all is. So I don't think deities are necessarily all-powerful beings in the sky somewhere. I obviously work with deities myself. I do view them more, probably a good word for it would be archetype. Now, to me, that doesn't give them any less power. Like, whether something is physically manifest or energetically manifest or mentally manifest up here somewhere, it's all powerful. It all exists. It all is something, you know. I don't know how to explain this. Oh, this is getting so mumbo jumbo. So I think that I probably don't believe in deity as a lot of people do, but I do believe that they have power, and I believe that they are real on some level, just probably different to the way a lot of other people do. I hope that answers the question. I hope you've enjoyed this little Q&A video. I have more awesome questions coming up, so tune in next week to see the next installment. I love you all so much, and I will see you next time, whenever that is. So much love.